All right, good evening, everybody. If you guys can hear me clearly, type Y in the chat box. Those of you on the conference call line, if you're in front of your computer and you go to live the number one dream.info, that is www.liveonedream.info, you'll be able to see what it is that we are speaking about this evening. Well, welcome, everybody. This is our live Saturday evening mindset training call. My name is Brandon Ivey. I'm very excited about doing this because I haven't done a mindset training in maybe a little over 2 months now. And this is a two-parter. This is the second part. The first part was 3 weeks ago, which was how to be a professional. So this is the second part of that training series. And I got to tell you that this is the fuel that you need in your gas tank. It doesn't matter what company you're a part of. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter anything that you might be currently doing, whether it is network marketing or anything else. This is information that can help you in your business. Now, this is also information that once I really figured it out, because I was taught this when I first started my journey in home-based business. I was told that I must undergo personal development. You know, that old saying is that you cannot continue to do the same things you've always done and expect to get different results. And the only way you're going to change is you're going to have to grow as a person. You're going to have to grow in your attitude. You're going to have to grow in your mindset. You're going to have to grow in your decisions and on the way that you look at things. And that doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that's taught in school. This is something that you have to search out willingly for yourself. Nobody else can do this for you. And I heard all of this before, but I never actually applied it. It's one thing to hear it, but it's something completely different to put into practice. And about, I would say 5 years ago, maybe around 2009, 2010, I started to actually implement this, and my life changed, literally changed. I never made less than four figures a month in any home-based business. Was able to walk off my job and work from home full time. And I wake up every morning and I'm thankful and I thank the Lord and I'm grateful for that because I have an experience of living life with my family and not giving my time to a job that I'm building somebody else's dream. I'm able to build my own dream, my own reality, and it's a blessing every single day. And I think that everybody should be in a position to experience that. And every single one of you have or has the opportunity to do so. Again, it doesn't matter what company you're a part of. Here's one thing that I've also learned. Companies are not gangs. They're not sports teams where one company is better than another company. You can show me the best company out there and I'll show you somebody in it that's broke. You can show me the worst company out there and I'll show you somebody making six figures. Different companies are a different fit for different people. So the first journey is trying to find the one that's a good fit for you. Something that you can believe in. Something that you're gonna feel is gonna be here long term. And not everybody's looking for long term. That's also something you must understand. Not everybody's looking the next 10, 20 years down the road. I always was taught this. If a person is drowning, there's only one thing in their mind. Not what they're going to eat next week, not what's on TV tomorrow, not what vacation they're going to take next summer. The only thing on their mind is, I need air to breathe. And that's the only thing they're going to focus on. So each person is at a certain place in their lives, and it's not necessarily your business to know what that is. So the decisions that they make are what's best for them at that time. The decisions that you make, you have to decide, am I making a decision for the short term or am I making a decision for the long term? Now, as this slide says, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Actually, it is a little thing that makes a huge difference. It makes all the difference in the world. Some people take that lightly. They don't understand. It's not about having a good or a bad attitude. That's not what I mean here. It's not, 24/7, you always have to be in a good attitude. That's not what I mean. What I mean by that is how you respond to things that happen in your life. How you respond to things that happen in your life is what makes all the difference. Is the glass half full or half empty? Sometimes it's not having a negative attitude, but an angry attitude may be a little bit fuel for you. See, you have to be, to change your current situation, you have to be sick and tired of where you are. I mean, sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of being down, sick and tired of not having things go your way, sick and tired of listening to somebody else. When you've got that attitude, that gives you fuel to do something different and to change something in your life. I haven't said this in a very long time, but I heard a story. And these kids were walking past this farm. And there was always a farmer that sat on the porch, and he had an old dog laying next to him on the porch. And this dog always whined, and complained, and was moaning all the time. And finally, one of the kids said, Farmer, why is that dog moaning so much? He said, because he's laying on a nail. It's poking him. Well, why doesn't the dog get up, move a few inches to the left, and get up off the nail and lay where there is no nail? And the farmer said, because it doesn't hurt bad enough. And that's a lesson for a lot of us in our lives. We haven't changed our situation because it doesn't hurt bad enough. Only then do we really make major changes in our life. But you have the power to make that change before it really gets to that point. To really change your life. And it starts with attitude. You also must understand that there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, 12 months in a year, 365 days in a year. All of us are living on the same borrowed time. Not one of us is given more time than somebody else. What matters is what you do with that given time. Some people piss it away. Other people reach the stars. What's the difference? Attitude. Attitude. The same thing can happen to two people, the same life event. Yet both people react differently to it. One person lets it get them down. Another person lets that be their strength. What was the difference? Attitude. Attitude is everything. It's the beginning point for everything. Now, 3 weeks ago, we talked about how to become a professional. And that video was recorded. So we're going to move on to go to the second part of this how to be a professional mindset training. And let me scroll over to it. If you guys missed that, it was recorded, so you can always go back and listen to it. In fact, I emailed it out to everybody. So here we go. Know your why. One of the first things that they ask us in college, why are you here? It is. Why are you here? Because mom and dad want you to go to school? Because you're the first person in your family to get a higher education? Because grandma says you better go to college? Why are you here? Why are you in a home-based business? Why are you doing something different than the masses? Why are you stepping out of line and creating your own path? Is it because you want to spend time with family? Is it because of college education for your children? Is it because you want to buy a new home? You want to be debt-free, family vacation. You want to give more time to the church. You want retirement. You want to be able to buy some toys like a boat, car, and RV. Those are all good things and powerful motivators. Why are you here? For me, that's not strong enough. I heard other leaders in the industry say that Your why must be something that will make you cry. That sounds good, but that's actually the worst because you're implying that something that will make you cry is a motivator. And it's absolutely false. It's actually the opposite. Being able to cry is it's like a sedative, it's an appeasement. It's an emotional release. Crying does not motivate an individual. Crying releases your emotions so that it's not built up inside. If crying was a motivator, everybody would be a multimillionaire today. How many times have we cried about something in our lives? And what has crying actually got us? We felt a little bit better about it. We were able to cope and handle things a little better. But it was not a motivating factor for us to move to the next level. So something that will make you cry is not good enough. Here's how you find what your why is. And 99% of adults never do this exercise. Kids do it all day long until they're told that they're adults now. They have to stop living in a fantasy world and they have to live in reality. But kids do this every single day. I love watching my 7-year-old. My 7-year-old is a big dreamer, huge imagination, fearless. He hasn't been taught by society yet his limitations. So here as an adult is how you can get this back. How you can figure out what your why is now as an adult rather than as a kid. You want to be a fireman, you want to be a police officer, you want to chase monsters. That's what kids think about. They want their next ice cream. They want to go swimming. They want new toys. But as an adult, here's how you figure out your why. And this is your assignment for tonight. This is what I want you to do before you go to sleep tonight. And a lot of you might be on the East Coast, so it's getting towards bedtime for you. I'm in California, so it's only 7:13 my time. But it's 10:13 on the East Coast. So here is what you do. Before you go to sleep, I want you to think about this. What would you do if money was no longer an issue in your life? Think about that. Money was no longer, you had all the money in the world. What would you do? Now I'm going to make it a little bit harder. You've already taken your family vacations all over the place. You've already given to your church. Your retirement is a done deal. You've bought all the toys that you want, your boats, your cars, your multiple cars, your different houses. You bought all of that stuff. You're completely debt-free. You have not one new home, but multiple homes from the East Coast to the West Coast, maybe even a vacation home in a different country. Your college tuition for your children is paid for the next few generations. You have all the time in the world to spend with your families. You've already done all of your major shopping on the East and West Coast and in Europe. You've done everything that your heart desires. 1 year later, you wake up on a Monday morning and you have more money in the bank account than before you went on your spending spree. What do you do with your time? What are you passionate about? Why are you here? What is your purpose? What would you do if you don't have to go to work for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 40 years of your life? What would you do with your time? 99% of adults never, ever entertain that thought because to them, that's not a reality. So they have no idea what they might want to do, what their passion really is. Because if they can't make money doing their passion, then why do my passion? I've got to live and survive. But that's not an issue for you anymore. You can come and go, please, whatever you want. What would you do? Now, I'm going to add to that. A lot of you may be hearing this for the first time, even thinking about that. Just imagine that's the life you have. What would you do? It doesn't matter how silly it is. It doesn't have to be grand, like try to save the world or build hospitals all over the poor countries. It doesn't have to be grand. This is where you're being selfish for yourself. If that's what pleases you and that's your purpose, fantastic. But what do you want to do? See, I'm going to add fuel to that. Once you've thought of that, how does it feel to have accomplished that? How does it feel to have that lifestyle? How does it feel to be able to do what you're passionate doing? Pretend as if it is already happening. Imagine that it is already here. How does it feel? Do you feel good inside? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel satisfied? Does it make you feel like you have a sense of purpose now? Capture that feeling. Capture the emotion that comes with the feeling. Here's why the emotions is so important. And this is what Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Les Brown all talk about in their own different ways. Why the emotion and feeling is so important. Because throughout our days, in our own reality, 9 times out of 10, we have more negative emotions than we have positive emotions. We're thinking about lack of. We're thinking about the fact that we don't have enough money. We're thinking about the fact of how we're going to pay our bills. How am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to get the car fixed? How am I going to pay off this debt? How am I going to avoid tax or bill collectors? How can I help my family member who's hurting or about to lose their home? These are bombarding us every day. You turn on the news, you see negativity. You see problems going on around the world. That's all you feel. It doesn't make you feel very good. And that's the vibration that you are putting out there. So we must counter this with having a positive feeling, with being surrounded in your own little bubble. And the reason why is because right before you go to sleep, your brain does not know fiction from nonfiction. Your brain does not know what's real and what's not real. It only knows the inputs that you give it. So if you say my current reality right now is I'm broke, busted, and disgusted, that's what your brain is going to operate on. If you fake your brain into thinking that, or trick your brain into thinking that you're rich, prosperous, and happy, that's how your brain is going to react and respond. So as you go to sleep, your brain, while your conscious is asleep, your subconscious is wide awake. It's still working. It's programming you. And the more of these happy feelings that you have, the positive emotions that you have, because your brain does not understand words. Every word has an emotional attachment to it, a feeling to it, like the word love. In different languages outside of English, there's multiple words for the word love because different forms of love has a different meaning to it, a different emotion tied to it. So words are words. What matters is the emotion tied to each given word, each given experience in your life. Your brain doesn't understand the experience. It understands your emotion to how you're responding to each experience. That's the difference why I said attitude. You have 2 men that get laid off from a job. One man looks at the world, says, I can't believe that I'm getting stomped on again. The world has its foot on my back. Nothing good happens to me. I feel terrible. The second person gets laid off and says, wow, I'm sure glad that I now have an opportunity to have a better chance at something different that I wouldn't have seen if I was still working that job. Thank you for this opportunity. You feel better about it. What does your brain do? What does your body do? It gives off these vibrations, and whatever you give off is what you attract to you. So if you're spending 8 hours, maybe if you sleep 8 hours a night, of leaving your brain on this positive emotional feeling, that's 8 hours of uninterrupted, no TV, no commercials, no world negativity to combat this. 8 hours of uninterrupted positivity in your brain. I guarantee you wake up feeling much better. And then when you wake up in the morning, you do the same exact thing again. That's how you start your day. The scientific reason behind this is because your brain is creating endorphins, chemical releases in your body, and it's also creating a vibration. Have you ever heard when you're around somebody say, I've got a good vibe about them, or I don't have a good vibe about that person? Especially when somebody comes in your space, you can feel the energy off of them. What type of energy are you giving off? Whatever you give off is what you receive. You are a magnet. I love what Nikola Tesla says. He says that his brain is nothing but a receiver, and whatever he puts out, he gets back. Most successful people do this even if they don't realize they're doing this. I remember when Oprah Winfrey learned of this law. She said, I've been doing that for 30 years. Didn't even know there was a law to it. I did it. It worked. I just kept doing it. Most of us don't do this. Because you know what? Sometimes I've heard somebody say, every time I think happy thoughts, something bad happens. So it's like, why even be happy? That's the worst kind of thinking you can have. You get, or you attract to you what you put out. What I just said was probably the most important part of this entire training, but we're going to go through some more here. You must set short-term and long-term goals. Now that you have your why, you must create the path to it. See, what successful people do is they don't look at what the journey is before they make the decision. They make a decision on what they want, and then they figure out, how am I going to get there second? Because if you ask every successful person after they had success, looking back on their life, would they do it all over again? The answer would be no. Because they look at what they had to do to get to where they want to go, and they don't want to go through that again. You don't make your goals in life based on what the journey is going to be. Donald Trump says, whenever I see a business deal and it makes sense, I decide right then and there, and I figure out how later. What a lot of people do when they see a home-based business, before they decide to join, they figure out, how am I going to do this? Do I have time to do this? Is it going to hurt? Will people say no? Am I going to lose money? And they decide not to move forward based on that. I look at the reward up front. When I sat down with the CEO of my company, the first thing I asked was, can I make $1 million a month in this company? He said yes. I said, I'm in. I'll figure out how later. Yes, I said $1 million a month. It's one of my goals. I am not going to stop and settle for less. Some of your goals may be just a couple $100 a month. Pay off some of your bills. Some of your goals is you want to be able to, at least pay your rent and your mortgage and save that extra $1,200 to $2,000 a month. That might be your goal. Some of you want to walk off your job. Some of you want to be able to do a lot for your community. Whatever it is that you want to do in your goal, you decide on it, whether you're going to go for it or not, and then figure out the how later. So set short-term and long-term goals, no matter how outlandish, no matter how crazy it sounds. One of those should be financial freedom, because you can't do what you're passionate about if you're not financially free completely. It's impossible. So you must have financial freedom. Also understand that it takes time to grow anything. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It amazes me when I see people, they join a home-based business. They always ask, how much does it cost? When someone asks that question, it's just like what rich people do in a store in Beverly Hills. If you have to ask how much it costs, you can't afford it. Don't ask how much it costs. What is the reward? No matter what the cost is, if the reward is great enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. If I were to tell you right outside, I've got a Lamborghini sitting there, the first person to give me $5,000 gets the Lamborghini, and every single one of you has $0 in the bank account. I'm sure somebody is going to find $5,000 to get that Lamborghini. Why? Because the value of the Lamborghini is worth far more than the cost of getting it. That's how your home-based business is. Reaching your goal is far more valuable than the cost it's going to take to get there. You can't count the cost. You cannot count the cost. People say, Brandon, how much time are you willing to give when the job gets done? There is no time. I heard people say, I'm going to give it 3 months and see what happens. Quit now. I'm going to give it a year or two. First of all, if you were to start a traditional business, it takes at least 5 years before you are in profit. That means you're going to work 4 years on average of taking a loss. Why do people do it? Because they're looking more than 5 years down the road. You've all seen that video by Tyler Perry. He's worth almost $500 million today. But in the 90s, he went 8 years of being broke, 8 years of building his dream and it not taking off the way he wanted it to take off. People telling him to quit. People telling him to stop wasting his money, stop spending his money, go do something else. 8 years. His original thought it was going to only take 1 to 2 years. 8 years. Now worth $500 million. Most people give up. It blows my mind that a person will go 30, 40 years of making decisions that have gotten them to where they are today. And someone actually challenged me on this a few months back when I said this. But here's the first step in financial freedom is taking responsibility. Your current situation is in your hands. Yes, there might have been things that happened in your life that you have no control over, but those things don't define you and they don't keep you where you are. So you must take responsibility for where you are today and say, even if this wasn't my fault that I'm here, I have the choice to whether I'm going to stay in this position or change. So you are where you are based on every decision you've made up in your life until this point. That includes your bank account. But you have the power to change. But people will go 30, 40 years getting to where they are. They join a home-based business and expect to change 30 years of bad habits and bad decisions in 2 months. And if they're not making $10,000 a month in 2 months, they quit. A couple of weeks ago in our training, we called those individuals posers or amateurs. You must be a professional. It's going to take you time to grow. And you can't compare your progress to somebody else's. You can't. Somebody may make it happen in 2 weeks. Somebody else, it may take 2 years. Each person's path is different. How much are you willing to work for it? How much are you willing to learn? How much are you willing to grow? In our industry, the simple thing is this. It's always a numbers game. It's always a numbers game. Here's the person who wins. The person who talks to the most amount of people will always win. When I first got started in network marketing, I was with a company. I'm not going to say its name, but its initials were called ACN. And I had a woman on my team. And she was not the smartest bulb in the cabinet. She had no business experience. She could not stand in front of a room and give a presentation. She couldn't even explain to you how the business worked. Yet she outproduced everybody. She was making a lot of money. At one time, she won $1,000 bonus, and they brought her up in front of the room and asked her, what is your secret? What's your secret? And she just says, I don't take no for an answer, and I talk to as many people as possible, and I put them in front of Brandon. She doesn't do a presentation. She figured it out. It's just a numbers game. Whoever talks to the most people wins, no matter what. Here, you want to know the magic number where you will have success no matter what company you're in. Here's the magic number. This is what multimillionaires told me when I first got started. I was 21 years old. They told me two things. The first thing they said was, if you stay in your company for at least 10 years and be consistent, you're guaranteed to hit the top position of the company. At that time, I was 21. I said, wow, so if I stay in until I'm 31, I hit the top position and the average income is $30,000 a month and more. Wow. That was the one lesson that I learned. It's not you're in the company and do nothing. It's you're in the company, you remain consistent. The second thing they said is this. If you talk to at least 2 people a day for a year about your business, expose your business to at least 2 people. I'm not saying that they all saw a presentation. I'm saying you actually opened your mouth and asked 2 people if they were open to hearing about an opportunity, regardless of the results. 365 days in a year, 2. Multiply that by 2. So you have over 700 people you've spoken to about your business in the course of a year. You would have at least 40 personal enrollees into your business. That meant you went through a whole lot of no's, right? You went through almost 700 no's, but 40 people personally sponsored. Whatever company you're part of right now, how much money would you have made with 40 people personally sponsored? And what if they did the same exact thing? And this continued. That's just 2 people a day. It's numbers. Doesn't matter what company you're in, numbers don't lie. Most people do not have the patience or the discipline to go through those numbers. And that is why they fail. They have what I like to call shiny ball syndrome. Every time a new shiny object pops up, instead of working on themselves to become better, they jump ship to another company where they think it's going to be easier. And that might be the case. Again, it's not about one company being better. It's about what's a better fit for you. So if you move to a different company because it's a better fit, more power to you. But if you're moving because you're not having success in the one you're in and you're not willing to put the time in, you will always be moving from company to company because you're going to quickly figure out that you have to do the same thing in another deal. And 9 times out of 10, you figure out that it was more difficult. The grass is not always greener somewhere else because somebody else is looking at the grass under your feet like it's greener. You got to be like a bamboo tree. You know, bamboo seeds, when you plant that seed, it doesn't grow immediately. You got to water it and water it and water it. It takes years. Then all of a sudden, it sprouts from the ground and becomes one of the fastest growing trees in the world. We call that hypergrowth. I'll tell you about a company called Visalis. They struggled for years, almost went out of business. And they went from zero, it took them years to get to 10 million. And then within 2 years, there were over $300 million. You went from 10 million to 300 million in 2 years. Hypergrowth. That's what my company is about to go through. Hypergrowth. Why I'm still here. You must stay consistent and work your business. It won't work unless you work it. I had somebody tell me last year, Brandon, I'm quitting the business. Why? I'm not making any money. The business doesn't work. I say, well, let me stop you right there. And I hate when I see people do this. This is, again, when it comes to personal responsibility. It is always somebody or something else's fault. So because you're not making money, the company doesn't work. Are there people in the company making money? Yes. So why is it working for them and not you? What are they doing that you're not doing? I don't know. Well, let me ask you a question. How many people have you personally enrolled? One. Okay. When was the last time you've been on a presentation? 2 months ago. Huh. When was the last time you were on a training? 2 months ago. When was the last time you put somebody in front of a presentation? 2 months ago. Huh. So you're batting 100%. Why don't you put more people on a presentation? Why don't you do more three-way calls? Why don't you actually work the business? Why are you not on the presentations? Well, I was on your first one. Isn't it the same thing over and over again? Didn't you take a shower last week? Do you continue to take showers? Isn't it the same thing over and over and over again? Repetition. You go to the gym and work out. You work out one time. Do you see the results? Or do you have to continuously work out over and over and over and over and over again? The one thing about a home-based business sometimes that it can be boring, meaning that you're just being consistent doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's no magic pill. There's no secret sauce. It's just plain old hard work. And we all know how to work. We went to school for 12 years of our lives, or 12 grades. We went through college. We work a job 9 to 5 for 40 years of our lives. We know how to be consistent. We're consistently broke. It's time for you to be consistently wealthy. Just switch it up and do something different. The business is not going to work unless you work it. Well, I'm not making any money. You don't have any production going on. Tell me where you can go, do absolutely nothing, and get paid. That's the magical unicorn. It doesn't exist. The federal government? Good luck with that. You can expect to reap a harvest if you have not sowed any seed. You cannot expect to reap a harvest if you've not sowed any seed. You must put in some time if you want to get time. I love when people always ask me this question too. Again, Brandon, how much time do you put in a week in your business? That's a trick question to me. My life is my business. See, when you enjoy doing what you're doing, you don't realize that you work. Here's one of my typical days if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I wake up early in the morning and go to the gym. Come home, take the kids to school. Depending on how my little one is acting, I may stay for the first, hour or so, make sure he's behaving himself in class. I come home, eat breakfast, do some minor work, checking on the genealogy, emails, communicating with leaders. Then I prospect, do three-way calls, make myself available, have lunch, take a nap or go swimming in the afternoon. Wake up, do more calls, be ready for the presentation webinar, eat dinner. After that, do three-way calls to close the team. Watch videos, read, or play video games until 2 or 3 in the morning. And do it all over again. Now realizing, during that time, I was working. There is no how many hours. Now, here's what I did when I was working a job. I had a full-time job. And to be honest, I was more productive when I had a full-time job than I am right now. But when I had a full-time job, I got up at 6 a.m., go to my job. I would do three-way calls while I'm at work and even get written up for it. I didn't care. I would come home by 6. The family's already eating dinner, but I can't because that's 9 p.m. Eastern time and we have to do a presentation, so I have to do the presentation. I do the webinar. 45 minutes, an hour later, I'm doing three-way calls. It's now going on 8, 9 o'clock my time. I'm now prospecting in my business and be doing three-way calls and being available for the team and putting the videos together and doing the training together and putting all that stuff together. Finally eat dinner at maybe 10:30, 11. Spend that little bit of time with my wife before she falls asleep because she sleeps early. Finally, the kids were asleep. I work my business quietly because the East Coast is quiet now. The West Coast is quiet. Nobody's bothering me. So I can build my business, and I do that till 3 a.m. and go to sleep. I would get 3 hours of sleep a night. I did that for 90 days. And at the end of the 90 days, I was at $12,000 a month. Not many people will be willing to work that type of a schedule. But the reward was far more better than the journey. Because now I do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'm not satisfied. I'm grateful, but I'm not making 6 figures a month yet. That's the first step to me getting to $1 million a month. But you must put in some time. But if you know you're on that type of schedule, you got to give yourself a couple hours a day to do productive work, not busy work. Busy work is work that's not producing you anything. Productive work is actually speaking to somebody about your business, having them watch a presentation, or signing up customers. That's productive work. And a lot of people miss that. A lot of people don't. They figure just because they were busy during the day. Oh, I was on a couple of webinars, didn't have any guests. I posted a couple of things on Facebook. That's busy work. That's not productive work. You have to do productive work. It's very important that ignorance on fire is way better than intelligence on ice. This is another step where people fail. You've got people out there that figure, oh, I got to figure everything else out before I move. You want to know the difference between 7-figure earners and the rest of everybody else? Everybody else waits for things to be perfect. Millionaires jump in, get positioned, blow this thing up, and figure everything else out as they go along. They make a few short decisions. Is this worth it? Does it make sense? Is the product something I would use even if I wasn't in the company? Is the product something I would give away even if I wasn't going to get paid? That's why I know it's still here. Is the industry a good industry that I know is going to be long term? All right, I'll figure it out later. You know, I was making over $15,000 a month before I finally figured out the comp plan. Yeah, it took me 4 or 5 months to figure it out. I said, when I get paid, I'll figure out why I got paid. And I remember it was like 5 months later, as someone who saw the company, the business at the same time I did, oh, I got it figured out. I'm ready to get started. I'm like, wow, I walked off my job. What were you waiting for? We don't wait. We lead. By the time everybody else figures it out, we're already done and gone. You got to be excited about what you're doing. People will come to watch you burn before they want to see how much knowledge you know. Light yourself on fire and watch how many people come to see you burn. Think about any company you've seen that's gone through pre-launch. And they use almost that fear of loss to get people, oh, you got to get positioned now. If you don't, you're going to miss out. You got 5,000 people on you. Better upgrade by Wednesday or you're going to miss out. That fear of loss. But they're excited. And excitement is contagious. You got to be the first person dancing on the dance floor. Those are the ones that make the money. You don't want to be the last person on the dance floor. You waited till everybody else got out there before you got out there. You're not going to get to where you want to go. Start to develop the right mental attitude, have long-term thinking. Again, I say, a lot of you are looking for different things. Some of you are looking for the short-term fix. Now, and I used to be that person. I was like, yeah, I got to make as much money as fast as I can. And I chased the rabbit for years. I'm 38 years old now. I retired at 36. I remember one of my goals was I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 35. That didn't happen. I wasn't even retired at 35. It took me one more year. But now at my age now, with the experience that I have and chasing the rabbit back in the days, here's the thing I've learned. Time is going to happen whether you like it or not. And if you're not planning for the long term, if you're not planning for tomorrow, if you can't see 5, 10 years from now, 5, 10 years from now is going to come anyway. You're going to be in the same, if not worse, situation you were before. And here's the problem with chasing that short-term money. You may end up making a lot of money up front, but as fast as it came, it will be taken from you, and you have to start all over again. I don't want to start all over again. I'm going back to what my mentors told me. 10 years. 10 years. 10 years from now, I'll be 48 years old. I'm already retired. Where will I be financially 10 years from now, being in the same company, building my business consistently? Multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire. You've got people running around that can't make it 6, 7 months. I'm not making any money. You already have the wrong mindset if you were looking long term. You have to have long-term thinking. Treat your business like a $1,000,000 business, not $100 business. Have you ever heard of Jack Ma? Type in the chat box if any of you, if you have, say yes. If you have not, say no. Jack Ma. And it's okay if not. I did a live presentation in LA on Tuesday night, and only one person in the room who knew who that name was. He's worth $10 billion right now. Nobody knows who he is. But here's something. I'm going to tell you his story. Jack Ma is CEO and owner of a major company in China. Nobody type that in the chat box, please. You're going to ruin my punchline. In 1999, there's a famous video of him in his apartment in China. And there's like 6 people in the room with him. They're all his. Think of Mark Zuckerberg when he started Facebook from his dorm room. That's how this was with him. And he said, the internet is going to make us fortunes. Not a fortune, fortunes. Our competition is not right here in China. Our competition is in Silicon Valley with the Americans. We cannot have an 8 to 5 mentality, or we might as well go do something else. Our company will go public 2002. This was 1999. It will go public 2002. He had goals. We're now in 2014. His company didn't go public yet. They just announced they're going public on the New York Stock Exchange. And when they go public, it's going to be the biggest IPO in American history. Over $150 billion they're going to raise. $40 billion cash goes to the company and the employees. That name of that company is called Alibaba. It is the #1 e-commerce company in the world, bigger than Amazon. In the next few years, it will be the biggest company in the world. He had a story in 1999. I was telling everybody in 2002. It didn't happen in 2002. Did he quit? Did he shut the company down? Did he go do something different? Did he say, oh, well, I give up. I might as well go join Amazon or something? No. 12 years later, he still worked his business. He's worth $10 billion today. Soon he will be the richest man on the planet. More than Bill Gates and Carlos Slim and Warren Buffett. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be the richest man in the world, but I'm just telling you. You got to treat your business like $1 million business, and that doesn't happen overnight, because if it did, all of your broke family members and cousins, cousin Pookie down the corner, and neighbors would all be wealthy right now. You're doing something that they will not do. I have people all the time telling me how they're struggling with $34.95 auto ship. Really? Is that what your focus is on? You might as well go back to a job. Focus on the reward. And then work your business. The most important things that you can bring to your business is work ethic, desire, commitment, be coachable, and excitement. We already talked about work ethic. We already talked about desire. What about commitment? This is something that's really lacking. And especially in our American culture, we're taught that we don't need to commit to much, especially not even marriage. That's not the same overseas. It's different commitment level overseas with things. But in America, I mean, we don't like something, we can always toss it aside and go do something else. And a lot of you are what I like to call dating your business. You see a nice skirt walk down the street, she's cute. You know, you jump on board with her, you date her for a little bit, but as soon as it starts to become a problem, as soon as you start to run into some issues and challenges because you're trying to grow together, it's too hard. You're going to go get another skirt down the street that's brand new, where there's more excitement, where there's more lust factor, and you're dating your business and you toss it aside when you feel you've gotten everything that you want from it. You will never be successful long term in business with that mindset. You must be committed. You must marry your business, which means you're going to be there through good and bad times. And I guarantee you will have bad times no matter what you do, no matter who you are. There is not one millionaire alive today that didn't have struggle. In fact, most millionaires filed for bankruptcy at least one time in their life. You must be committed to your cause. Do you think Jack Ma was committed to Alibaba? Do you think that Warren Buffett's committed? Do you think that Sergey Brin is committed? Do you think that Howard Schultz is committed to Starbucks? Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg's committed to Facebook? What is your commitment level? And it's based on your actions, not your words. I've heard people, oh, I'm committed. Next week, they're doing something else. Yeah, right. You must be coachable. This is something that I struggled with when I first got started. I was a college kid. I was a senior at Morehouse College when I got my first company. I was very popular. I was on the board of a whole bunch of things. I was student body vice president, and I was everything. And what's funny is when I first got started, they told me that I had to have what's called a PBR, a private business reception. That's where you invite everybody you know over to your home, and then one of the upline leaders will come over and do a presentation for you. And this is designed to jumpstart your business. This is what we call grand openings, ladies and gentlemen. Every Tuesday and Thursday night, grand opening. That's the PBR. And I was like, oh, no problem. I just had a party over my house last weekend. I invited 20 and like 80 people showed up. This is going to be a no-brainer, especially since all of these are college kids. They're looking to go into business afterwards. Of course they're going to come. And so my upline said, all right, great. Right? Make a list of all the people you want to invite, and we're going to do a three-way call. You're going to introduce me to them, and I'll invite them over to your place. And you know what I said? You must have lost your mind. They don't know you. I'm not going to put you on the phone with them. They're going to show up just because I say so. And I'm going to have a party afterwards. I was a college kid. And so the day of, this is what I did. Anybody knows how the AUC is. You've got Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta University, Morris Brown. I had a couple of Spelman girls running all over campus and up to Phipps Plaza, College Park, Greenbrier Mall, Lenox, the Underground. I had them putting flyers up all over the place about this great new company. Morehouse Men is going to be putting on a private business reception at his home. Had the gardeners come over. We mowed the lawn. They told me all you need is water and chips. No, 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 no. I had a whole buffet set up. I got rented some chairs. I was ready to go. The day of the presentation at my place, guess how many people showed up? 4. 4. Out of all of Atlanta, 4 people showed up. Me, my roommate, my sponsor, and the person who came over to do the presentation, our upline. 4. Talk about being devastated. And the first thing that came into my mind was, oh, this must not work. I didn't even think maybe I didn't do it the right way. I thought the business doesn't work. I might as well go ahead and quit now, but this is where my ego stepped in. I've never failed at anything before, meaning if I had a setback, give up on it. I've had many failures, but I just worked harder at it to get better. I did that in basketball in high school. I never forget the day I got embarrassed when we started to grow. I was a freshman and I was a little pipsqueak, and everybody's jumping. They can touch the backboard, they can touch the rim. I couldn't even touch the net. I tried so hard once, I fell and landed on my head and hurt myself, and everybody laughed. That mortified me. So over the summer, I worked so hard that I was able to dunk as a sophomore. Whenever I felt struggle, I worked through it. So there was no way that I was going to allow this to beat me. No way. So my ego stepped in and saved me at that time. And then I said, okay, since I'm going to do it, I better do it the right way. I decided to be coachable. I followed the system, and I got promoted to the first position within a few days. Wow. It actually worked. Follow the system. Be coachable. And you must have excitement. We already talked about that earlier. Set something on fire, people will come to watch you burn. You must understand that you will be going through an emotional roller coaster. If you have not done so, get this book. It is called Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. I have not read this in 2 years. I need to read it again. Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. You will be at least 6 months ahead of the game. See, even though that you're in business, in this type of a home-based business, your business is people. You're dealing with people. While numbers are perfect, people are not perfect, right? People are, they're, what's the word? They're not predictable to a certain extent. You will have highs and you will have lows. You may sign up that one superstar in your business, and we talked about that a few weeks ago about being a professional and what amateurs do. They're just trying to sign up that one superstar that's going to set them free. And maybe it happens, but here's what also happens too. You think, oh, I got the superstar, I got the 7-figure earner, he's going to make me rich. And somebody gives him $1 million to move to another company, and he takes his entire team with him. So you went from an extreme high to now an extreme low. What do? Don't make your highs too high and your lows too low. Some will, some won't, some wait. So what? Next. Person who you thought was going to do this, they say no. And then they try to tell you you shouldn't do it. The person you thought wouldn't do it, they're the ones who say yes, and they're the ones who make you the most money. It's a numbers game. So what? People will say no. That's why you're going on a path they're not. That's why you will be making money and they won't. Be expected to have most people say no. You're looking for the yeses. And don't be disappointed when things don't go your way. I'm telling you right now, understand the numbers. I don't care how big your organization is. Eventually, you lose at least 80% of your downline. 20% of your downline is what gets you financially free. You will have people quit. You will have people let you down. You will have people leave. You will have people stab you in the back. That is just how it is. Don't sweat that stuff. You focus on the ones who are still running with you, and new blood always covers up old dried up mud. So when things great happen, expect it and be on a level of emotion. When things bad happen, expect it so you don't get yourself too down to derail your momentum. I admit it all the time. In fact, I'm about to come on my 1-year anniversary for Shopping Sherlock, September 1st. And this has been a wild 1 year. It has not been what I expected it to be. Things did not go the way I wanted them to go. And knowing what I know now, if I were to go back, would I do it all over again? Absolutely. I would just do it a little bit differently, but I would not change my decision to be here. Because I see the reward factor. I've had many challenges, but I'm also a professional. I expect there to be some challenges. I'm prepared for the challenges. And you keep moving forward. You don't quit because you face some challenges. You'll always be quitting. I love this quote here by Martin Luther King Jr., my Morehouse alum. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. I learned a lot about some people who've been working with me over the past few years. A lot of people who joined our team when things were going great. People making 5, 10, 15, 20, $25,000 a month. Things going great for a long period of time. Never got to test them in times of struggle until recently. And when struggle happens, that's when you tell the measure of a man. His true nature comes out. So the ultimate measure of a man for me, my respect level for you is not how much money you make and how you handle it. It's how you handle yourself when you're not having the success that you're working hard for. That's when I watch you the closest. That's when I can tell who's going to be with me near the end, who I can count on, who I want running with me. Those are the people I don't forget when all is said and done. Sometimes problems don't require a solution to solve them. Instead, they require maturity to outgrow them. Men and women handle this differently. I'm married, I have a wife. And my wife, you know what women, there's a problem. She wants to talk about the problem. Me as a man, I'm a problem solver. So you come to me with a problem, I'm already thinking about what's the solution so that I don't have to hear about the problem anymore. And it infuriates my wife. The reason is my wife wasn't looking for a solution. She wasn't looking for me to solve her problem. She just wanted me to share in her experience. She just wanted me to listen. She didn't want me to understand her feelings. It's hard for us men to do this. I learned the hard way. And then we outgrow it with maturity. Sometimes there are no solutions to problems. I had one guy call me up and say, Brandon, my top person's thinking about quitting. He saw another company he got excited about. He's thinking about quitting. I need you to get on the phone and convince them to stay with the company. And I say, I'll get on the phone with them, but I'm not going to convince them to stay. So I get on the phone with that person and says, well, this is a great company. I'm just not having the success. And, I'm not making any money. And they're telling me I'm going to get spillover over there. It just seems easier. I am not convincing that person to stay. See, here's the one thing that I always stood. Whatever decision you make is the right decision for you. Whether you decide to stay or not, you're right. A mind convinced against its will is of the same opinion still. There's nothing that I can say. Only thing I say at that point is, hey, I wish you the best of luck. If there's anything I can do to help you out, just let me know. Sorry it didn't work out for you. My job is not to solve your problem. Because if you ask for me to solve it, my answer is go talk to more people. That's the answer to your problem. You talk to 10 people, you're guaranteed to get 3. Or at least 2. And in our business, we only need 2. You realize that? If everybody did their part and got 2, everybody walks off their job. How simplistic is that? If everybody does their 2, you are not in business by yourself or for yourself. Let me say that again. You're not in business by yourself, even though you're in business for yourself. This is a simplistic business. If everybody did their part, got 2 reps and 5 customers, you all walk off your job. The question is, how fast can you duplicate that? You duplicate that for 10 weeks, you're at $4,000 a month residual income. 2, getting 2, getting 2, getting 2, getting 2. That is it. Cost $249, monthly $34.95. Forget about the name of the company. Forget about the product. If that's all you knew, two, getting two, getting two. You're done. It's all in duplication. Now, someone just asked, why am I referring to people jumping companies? Because no matter what company you're in, you're going to have people on your team jumping companies. And you will have people that's even on this webinar that might think one day maybe join something different. And I'm preparing you for this, not only when you experience it for yourself, but as a leader when you have people in your downline. You can name every single company out there, and I will tell you people who have left that company for a different one, including my own. No company is immune to this. No company is safe from this. You will have people jump ship. And here's something else that you must understand, because when somebody decides to leave, it may cause doubt among other members as part of your team. Why did that person leave? Does that mean something's wrong with the company? Absolutely not. I'll tell you the story of a guy named Robert Dean. I even made a famous video on this. Seven-figure earner. He's made probably more than 15 million in his career. But he is what I call a company hopper to the fullest extent. And he joined a company called Limu. And this was, I think, his seventh or eighth company at the time. And of course, they paid him to be over there. But he made a famous video saying that he's give them a minimum of 5-year commitment to stay. He lasted about 7 months before he left that company. And when he left, he said, well, because the company wasn't good enough, the leaders weren't, I wasn't impressed with the corporate staff. The product wasn't that great. The compensation plan wasn't what I thought it was. It just wasn't good. You're not going to really make it there. And after he left, something called the millennials joined. Some teens between 18 to 22 years old joined the company and created a movement. And all of a sudden, 6- and 7-figure earners were making money in that company that never made money before after this person left. So it doesn't matter if somebody leaves. You never know why someone would leave. No matter what they say publicly. That's not your business anyway. Remember, you're in business for yourself, not by yourself. What they do is no concern to what you do. So I am preparing you guys as leaders how to react and respond when things like this happen. And it will happen. Let's talk about personality traits. When you're out there talking to people, there's 4 main personality traits. Shark, whale, dolphin, urchin. Most people are driven by one of these personality traits. It doesn't mean that that's the only trait they have. Of course, most of you have probably all of these, a different percentage, but you're dominated by one. Let's talk about the sharks. Sharks are power people. Sharks are people motivated by power, respect, money. When they walk in the room, they want everybody to know they're here. The party can get started now. I'm the man. I'm making all this money. If you approach me about your business, talking about how much money I can make, you have my attention. They love the limelight. They love to stand in front of the room and on stage. Driven by money and respect. Then you have the whales. Whales are the opposite. They're not driven by money. They're driven by the opportunity to help as many people. Most people in the health and wellness industry are whales. Not the top money earners in those industries, but most of the people in it. They're whales. They love helping people. They really believe their product is going to help somebody, and they got to get their product into the hands of as many people as possible. Look at the whatever their career is, whether they are nurses or doctors, or they work for nonprofits, or they're working in their church, they're teachers. See, when you go to a whale talking about how much money they're going to make, you're turning them off. They don't want to hear about that. To them, that's selfish. But when you go to somebody saying, you know how many people we can help with this business? We can help put more food on the table. We can help give them more resources. We can help them walk off their job. We can help them care for a loved one. Now you're speaking to a whale. You have the dolphins out there. Dolphins only want to have fun. My sister was a dolphin. When I came home from college and I was going to one of my local meetings and I was getting all dressed, my sister was like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to a business meeting." She was bored. "Can I come?" "Come on, come with me. Get dressed." So she goes with me to the meeting. We walk in. It was the West End on Century Boulevard in Los Angeles, right across the street from the airport. This was not 1999. And we walked in, and my sister was, I think, 17 or 18. I think she just turned 18 at that time. And all she saw, music was playing. Everybody was suited and booted, smiling, not just shaking hands, but hugging each other. And all she saw was a bunch of men in suits, dressed to impress, talking about making money. And the next convention was in Atlanta, Georgia. That's all she saw. She heard all the stories from me being in Atlanta. She couldn't wait to get to Atlanta herself. She didn't care what the name of the company was, and she signed up. And what's interesting was her organization, her team, was my largest organization. Yeah, I helped her out a bit too, but she couldn't tell you anything about the business. She just loved going to the conventions and the meetings. This was before the internet. We didn't have webinars. We didn't have online trainings. We had to physically go to a meeting. She didn't care about making money or not. She was having fun. See, you look at dolphins in their current careers right now, even if a dolphin's making a whole lot of money, if they're not having fun, they will leave that profession. Only problem about dolphins, reality quickly hits. They have to earn a living. Then you have the urchins, and urchins, they are like a needle in my neck. Urchins. I have the hardest time with urchins. I love them, but good Lord. Urchins need to know 100% of all the facts before they move a muscle. I guess I'm so far the opposite of that is why I have a hard time with the urchins. Urchins need to know, when was the company started? Where's the company headquarters? How old is the company founder? What's his social security number? How much money is this person making or that person making? What is the game plan for the future? What is this? Blah, 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 blah. And they will not move a muscle until every single question is answered. And a lot of times they ask questions not because they want to know the answer. They just want to see what you have to say. And it's not that it's bad, because they are logical. An urchin will say, how can you expect me to join your business when I don't even know what's going on? How can I tell other people about this if I'm not 100% sure on what I'm doing? I'm not putting my name and my reputation out there like that. I didn't get to where I am by being a fool. This might be a scam. Something might be wrong. I might be missing something. I have to be 100% sure. And that's okay. That's their personality. It's not wrong. None of these personalities are wrong. It's just knowing what their personality is so you know how to approach them. When a lot of people talk to me, they think I'm an urchin because I know all the facts. The reason why I know all the facts is because I know I'm going to be speaking to urchins. That's why I know all the facts. But here's the one thing about urchins. Urchins turn into sharks. Once they've gotten all the info they've made so that they can feel comfortable moving forward, they end up making more money than everybody else. You want to know why? Because once an urchin makes a move, you can't shake that urchin. They've done their research. They're 100% committed at this point. They don't care what other company comes around. It's not as good as the one they're in right now. And they end up making more money than everybody else. The problem is getting them to move. It takes forever. And even when they do move, it takes forever for their business to take off because they're spending all their time doing what I call busy work, not productive work. They're still learning. They're still soaking this in. They'll watch a presentation 50 times before they invite somebody onto a presentation. But at the end of the day, urchins end up making the most money because then they turn into sharks and whales. For those of you who have interacted with me, which personality trait do you think I am most dominated by? Shark, whale, dolphin, or urchin? You can go ahead and type it in the chat box. And some of you guys have seen this before. I'll tell you this. My wife will tell you that I'm a whale. She thinks I am so far from a shark. It's not even funny. She was in here on one of the trainings we did. When she heard me say I'm a shark, she looked at me like I was crazy. You're not a shark. You're a whale. Actuality, my dominant trait is a shark. But I understand one fundamental rule. Even if you're a shark, the more people you help, the more people you put their needs in front of your own, the more money you ultimately end up making. So I learned very quickly how to be a whale and appeal as a whale above all else, because the money will follow. You want to see a bunch of whale sharks? Go into health and wellness companies and look at the top money earners. Oh, they're sharks. Don't let the facade of the product is the greatest in the world fool you. They are sharks masquerading as whales, but they actually care about the people, which is why they rose to the top. So you want to have a little bit of all of these traits within you. Because when you meet a dolphin, when you ask them questions, you'll when you ask a person a question, you'll find out very quickly what trait they are. Hey, so what do you do for a living? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What do you like to do for fun? Just by asking those questions, they'll tell you very quickly what their dominant trait is. And then you can do next, which is probably will be next week's training, the feel, felt, found method, on how to talk to that person about your business that will appeal to them without you telling them about your business. How would you like to learn that trick? You know how I sign up most people? It's because they ask me to join. I don't ask anybody to join my business. I don't. When I'm talking to them, I don't even tell them the business that I'm in. I let them ask me. We'll go over that next week. But the last training we did on that, the video's out on YouTube. Feel, felt, found. Positives up, negatives down. That means basically try to stay as positive as possible. But in other words, it's actually the reverse. When you have an organization and you're as positive as you can be, project that positivity to your downline. When you're negative about something, project that negativity to your upline. And I hate saying that because I don't like negative people, and I don't like people calling me up with a whole bunch, woe is me. I'm like, good grief, you're draining me. But I'd rather you drain me than put that drain on your own downline who's not experiencing what you're experiencing. You don't want to be negative with your downline. They have a business that they're building on their own as well. You must see yourself as a diamond or whatever the top position of your company is. Perception becomes reality. Now here's the difference. People say, fake it till you make it. No, that's the worst thing to do. You are a fraud. You do not fake it, because I've never seen anybody fake it and actually make it. You do something else. It's called act as if. Act as if you have already accomplished all that you need to accomplish. You don't need to go get your rent money, stand in front of a rented car, flashing the cash, talking about join me, you're going to make money like this. That's faking it. No, act as if you are. I act as if I'm the number one producer and diamond of my company. And I am. I'm just waiting for the paperwork to catch up. In my last company, I was the top producer. Do you think I acted any differently when I hit regional vice president than the day I first got started? No. I already saw myself at the top of the company. As I do now, I act as if I own this company, because I do. Act as if. And when you act as if, people will treat you as if. People treat you however you are projecting yourself to be. Have confidence like you're a diamond. Act as if. And here's a simple thing for you to do. Go into the mirror in your bathroom. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this question. Would I sign up with you? And point to yourself. And be honest. Yes or no? Be honest. Don't say yes because you want to make yourself feel good. Be real honest with yourself. And if you lie to yourself, oh, you are in real deep trouble. Nobody is there. You're not faking it to anybody. It's just you and yourself. And if you're lying to yourself, I pray for you. Be real with yourself. If the answer is no, then here's the next thing you do. Why? Why not? What is it about me that I need to improve that I would want to sign up with somebody like myself? I did that, and the answer was no when I looked in the mirror. No, I wouldn't want to sign up with you. All right, I need to become the type of person I want to sign up with. So you identify what type of person would you want to have as your upline and your sponsor. And then you work to become that person so that now you can attract people to you. See, birds of a feather flock together. Losers do not, I'm sorry, let me reverse that. Winners do not sign up with losers. Remember we talked about posers, amateurs, and professionals. A successful person will not sign up with you in your business. It doesn't matter if you're with the greatest company. They're not going to sign up with you. Winners hang out with winners. So you must become a winner. And that doesn't mean based on how many people you have on your team. It is all in how you carry yourself, all in how you act, all in how you see yourself, all in how you're projecting yourself. I am a diamond. People want to work with me. It wasn't always that way. Become the type of person you would want to have as an upline, as a sponsor. And continuously work on yourself. I don't have a sponsor. In my career, personally, sponsors have always gotten in my way. I've never been that person that needs to call my sponsor or upline 4 or 5 times a day. If I needed a question answered, I will go find it. Find the answer. I learned by experience. I don't need my hand held. You're in my way. Get out of the way. My upline has always been in the way of my own progress. But that's just me. I wish I had a sponsor like myself, actually. It's been a long time. But I don't need it. Because again, this is my business. I thank my sponsor or upline for introducing me to the business. Thank you. Your job is done. Be there if I need any questions. Other than that, let me go work my business. You sit back and get paid on what I do. Good for you. I don't care. I'm about working my business. The most dependable hand is the one at the end of your own wrist. The most important person you will ever sign up in your business, ever, will be you. Do you know there's a lot of people who join the business and they still haven't recruited themselves yet? What? How can that be? What do you mean? They paid their money, they signed up. Yeah, but they still haven't recruited themselves. They're testing the water. They're putting their pinky in it to see if it's nice and warm. If it's too cold, they're out. They're out. What about you? Have you recruited yourself yet? I am committed. I told Michael Weeder, you're going to make this $1 billion company, and I want 50% of the company to be in my downline. That's the bottom line. When the job gets done. And if you're the person that says, I don't have that type of commitment, does that mean you're a bad person? No. That's okay. It's okay for you. You might have been looking for something different. You might have found, see, here's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not against, because someone asked me earlier about moving to different companies. I'm not against moving to different companies. As long as you don't give up on your goal. See, if you decide that you're in Los Angeles and you want to fly or you want to get to New York, New York's your destination. You know, the businesses that you're a part of is your vehicle. You can ride in a plane. You can get in a helicopter. You can get on a train. You can get in a car. You can ride a bike. You can walk. There's many different paths to that goal. And not every path might be perfect for you. But as long as you find the right path for you, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And I wish you the best. but stay focused on the goal. And you never have to put down where you came from to boost where you currently are. Be thankful from where you came from. ACN, my very first company, I have nothing but mad respect for that company. They've just celebrated over 20 years. They have helped thousands of people become financially free. They have hundreds of people that are millionaires. They're worldwide. Fantastic CEO. It ultimately just was not a good fit for me. And I did the worst thing that I possibly could do in my business career, and I quit because I wasn't making money. Do you know the greatest value to me was not the money from that company, not the money I could have made. It was the training that I got. Everything that I know today came from that. And that training is what's making me a millionaire today. So I'm always grateful for that experience and any experience in the past, and I wish them the best. But whatever you're currently doing right now, you've got to commit to it, no matter the good or the bad. And it all comes down to belief. And you want to ask yourself these, if here's a right way to know. Am I in the right business? I'm going to tell you how to figure this out for yourself. Number one, the industry. The industry. If you're looking for something that's long term, is the company in an industry that is a long-term growing industry? If the answer is yes, you're right there. My industry is e-commerce and m-commerce. No brainer. I don't even need to go into that. Enough said. Recession-proof industry. It's the internet. The second thing you look at is the product. Is this a product that you can believe in? Is this a product that you would use and pay for, even if you are not in the company? Most people in a lot of the health and wellness companies, they would never buy that product if they weren't in the company. And even if they did, they wouldn't buy it from the company when they can get it cheaper somewhere else. But would you buy the product? Here's the second question. Would you share that product with somebody else, even if you didn't get paid to do so? If you ever having a hard time thinking about business, think about what you're doing right now. Games, Candy Crush, Mafia Wars back on Facebook back in the day. Whatever things you're sharing with people right now, you're not getting paid for, you're still doing it anyway. Would you do that with the product in your company? Again, in my company, the answer is absolutely. Who in the world would not want to save money on items that they're going to buy anyway? I have yet to meet that person. Unless they just didn't like me. And they, no, okay, go spend more money. That's you. Who wouldn't? I give away the product for free. It's a freaking no-brainer. I have 1,000. Our mobile app's launching next month. We have 7-figure earners who are joining today, not next month, but today. Why? Because they want to have 500 people on their team before the mobile app launches. And they're like, holiday season's coming up. We can give this, if we give this app away, we show people, we're not even signing somebody up in the business. You had 1,000 people with the app using it. That's $2,000 a month without signing somebody up in the business. This is sick. It's a no-brainer business. It's simple and easy. Is it simple and easy no matter what company you're in? You got to ask yourself those questions. If you can answer yes, then you're in a winner. You're in a winner. Oh, and the third and also important, look at the company, the stability of it, the owner of it. Where do they see themselves 10 years from now? I love the fact when I see that my CEO is saying this will be a $1 billion company. Here's something else he told me that I really don't share too much. He said, regardless, one way or another, this is going to be $1 billion company with or without you. He already has backup plans to backup plans. It will happen. It's just a matter of when will it happen. I do have that fear of loss. Since I own part of the company, there's no way in the world. Look at it like this. I'll tell you a story of a gentleman I met in Atlanta who was one of the original 12 people that Microsoft went to before they went public, and they were looking to raise some more funds. They were looking for some more investors. And they went down to Atlanta and they invited these 12 people. And they asked for all 12 of them to invest about $250,000 each. $250,000 each. And in return, they would be given stock in the company. Now, Microsoft wasn't a household name at this time. It wasn't what it is that we know it today. It was still getting started. And all 12 said, yeah, they would do it. Well, one of them, the guy I met, went home, told his wife about it. His wife said, have you lost your mind? Apple is in every classroom right now. It's all about Apple, Macintosh. Nobody knows about Microsoft. You are not going to spend $250,000. And he listened to his wife, and he didn't do it. Had he done that, he would be worth multiple millions of dollars today. Multi-millionaire. Had he done that. It's about positioning. And I look at this company. There's no way 10 years from now, when my 15-year-old is 25 years old, and he's like, hey, Dad, you were in that company, Sherlock. What's this I hear about them all on the news? They're a multi-billion-dollar company. What happened? Oh, well, son, I was in it for 9-10 months. I wasn't making any money, so I quit and went somewhere else. What? I got to face my children. Even my 7-year-old knows the name of the company I'm in. But I have the faith and the belief that this will happen. Not everybody does. That's okay. What about whatever company you're in? Do you have that faith and that belief? I'm willing to risk it all. I already have my name, my reputation, because at the end of the day, I will be making $1 million a month. Whether it takes 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. I won't stop until it's done. But you must act as if. If you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. That's why mindset and personal development is so important. You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. That also shows those who undergo struggle, and you see the real person underneath that struggle. That's who they've always been. They've been wearing a mask all this time. So if you want more out of life, you must become more. You must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up? How hard are you willing to work? Because I'll tell you right now, there is a cost to whatever it is you want. That cost may be great, it may be small, but there is a cost. It might be in time, it might be in money. It's inescapable. There's a cost. You figure out what that cost is. You sit down on your table and have risk versus reward. For $1.15 a day, I think that this is absolutely no risk. That has the greatest reward possible. So with that, guys, I went a little bit over. That was our mindset training. This combined with the one a couple of weeks ago was the full mindset training, the how to be a professional. Let me pull up that link for that video. So if you guys missed that video, you can always go back and watch that. And this one was recorded, so you can always go back and watch this as well. I got to get with Rod. Ever since this new platform, I haven't figured out how to pull my recordings down yet. But we'll have this out as well, available for you guys. But remember to do that job tonight before you go to sleep tonight. Trick your brain into believing you're the wealthiest person on the planet. And how does it feel to be in that position and go to sleep? Don't have any other thought. Most people are thinking about what they just watched on TV or whatever problems they have. That's what they dream about. Put the last image in your brain, trick your brain, and see how you feel in the morning. And do this on a consistent basis over and over and over and over and over again. It becomes a habit. You start to think like this automatically, and watch how your life starts to change. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. My name is Brandon Ivey. This was our mindset training. I won't be doing this again for probably another month or so. Next week, we're going to talk about feel, felt, found, and I'm leading up to September because I'm in I don't want to call it hibernation mode, but September 1st is my 1-year anniversary, and I know I'm going to go into beast mode on September 1st to end off this year. Who wants to have the greatest Christmas that they've ever had? I want to have added 5,000 people on our team by the end of the year. I'm going into beast mode this September 1st, starting all over again. I spent the last year trying to protect what we've already had, and that cost me. I haven't been doing what I was supposed to be doing because I've been caring about my team. That also can be a detriment in business. Your job as a leader is to lead by example, not try to hold everybody's hands and drag them along with you. And I'm guilty of doing that. Not anymore. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Tomorrow, for those of you who have not registered for the cruise, make sure you do so. If you go to the website, we have a brand new video about the boat that we're actually going to be on. So take a look at the video as well for our cruise. It only costs $25 per person to save your cabin spot right now. So register. That is filling up fast. I think we're more than 50% of the cabins filled up, and the company has not even pushed it yet because we are talking about the London convention in September. So go ahead and lock in your cruise. Tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have a live webinar presentation with the new 7-figure earners who joined us under Chuck Williams' team. 9 p.m. Eastern, liveonedream.info. It's going to redirect you to the website. And then we have a team call right after that one. No, I'm sorry. The team call is before. The team calls at 8 p.m. Eastern. The webinar's at 9 p.m. So if you have any guests, you can make August strong. You have any guests, invite your guests out. Say, hey, how would you like to listen to people who are millionaires and why they joined Shopping Sherlock? Why did they get on with the Sherlock? Listen to them because they're going to make millions again. You don't want to be left out. So everybody have a fantastic night. Yeah, there's going to be a tandem call tomorrow night as well. See you all at the top. I look forward to going down this journey with you guys. God bless and good night. Bye-bye. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is the Brandon Ivey Show, coming back with you with a new tip of the day. And the tip of the day today is the philosophy of performance. The philosophy of performance. And this is a spin-off of when a lot of people want to talk about having the right mindset and what you're supposed to be doing to become successful. And it all starts with the mind, but it also starts with your core belief system. What is your philosophy? And every single person out there is motivated by a certain philosophy. There's a couple of them out there that most people fall into these 4 basic categories. And the first one is the philosophy of minimum wage. Think about that. The philosophy of minimum wage. And most Americans actually have this philosophy. It's the philosophy of I will get paid whatever somebody is willing to pay me. If a company's bottom line is $5 an hour, then guess what? That's how much money I'm going to make, because that's how much money the company pays me. One thing Jim Rome says all the time is, when he was a young lad and his mentor asked him about making more money, and Jim said, of course I want to make more money, but this is all the company pays me. And his mentor told him, no, that's just all the company pays you. Are there other people in the company that make more money than you? And the answer is yes. But that's your only mentality. That's your only mindset. That's your only philosophy. The philosophy of minimum wage. But then you have people out there that want just a little bit more. But they go about it a certain way. And their way of going about it is having the philosophy of waiting. The philosophy of waiting, where I will wait my turn. My time will come one day. Where if I just continue doing what I'm doing, eventually I'm going to get a raise from $5 an hour to $6 an hour. Maybe when my next yearly review comes around, I get a raise every year of that 2%. Problem is, how long is it going to take you to start to move up the ranks if you're waiting for somebody to give you something? Sadly, there are many people out there that have the philosophy of waiting. Then you have those who are a little bit more aggressive, and they have the philosophy of demand. They demand something. They feel it's almost entitlement. I demand that you pay me more. And they go about doing it a different way, their own certain way. And their way is, how about we create a strike force, a union, that if we band together, we can demand the company will pay us more money. Not because we're doing anything extra special, but because we demand for it to happen. We demand the federal government to protect us. We demand to have Social Security, a retirement. We demand to have health care. So you have those individuals. The philosophy of demand. Let me tell you where 99% of rich people operate. It's called the philosophy of performance. The philosophy of production. One thing my grandfather always taught me, and my father, is that if you're going to be a janitor, you be the best janitor you can possibly be. If you're going to be a street sweeper, you be the best street sweeper you possibly could be. Wallace D. Waddell states that success is not in doing certain things, but doing things in a certain way. Everybody is matched with the same 24 hours in a day. Everybody has the same opportunities as everybody else. But what one person does with that time and how they approach that time may be completely different than a different individual, which is why they get certain results. Success is doing things in a certain way, not doing certain things. See, the philosophy of performance basically means no matter what it is that you're doing, work as hard as you possibly can. Become the best you could possibly be. Better yet, what Jim Rohn also says is work harder than what they're actually paying you for. Do more than what you're getting paid for. See, unions don't like that concept. Do more than what I'm getting paid for? You realize most companies that survive, most companies that thrive, they thrive because they provide more in value than they ask for in cost. By doing so, you make yourself more valuable to whoever or whatever it is you're performing for. If you're on a 9-to-5 job and you're putting in more work than you're actually getting paid for, who do you think the company is going to notice? Who becomes more valuable to the company? If you're an athlete and you perform more than what you're being paid for, the next time your contract comes around, guess what's going to happen? You're now more valuable. One thing Jim Rome also says, and yes, I am a big follower of Jim Rome, is work on yourself harder than you work on your job. Work on yourself harder than you work on your job. There's only one other philosophy out there that can yield you good results, but ultimately will be your downfall. And it's called the philosophy of fear. The philosophy of fear, and many people have this. And it's not just fear of one thing, but it can be fear of many different things. I used to have a fear of failure. My greatest fears was not being successful. And without knowing it, I unwittingly held myself back. Oh yeah, I had some success, but I could only go so far because I still had fear in my heart. I was being driven by fear. Fear is a choice. It is a choice that you can choose not to have. People have fear of public speaking, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection. How about this one? Fear of poverty. Fear of poverty will always keep you in some form of poverty. I know people who make $10,000 a month and they have fear of poverty, but they have so much potential that if they let that fear go, they would be making 6 figures a month. Because you making $10,000 a month is poverty level to somebody that makes 6 figures a month. I remember in my ACN days listening to a training given by Tony Kupas. And Tony Kupas said, I can't believe there's people out there that only make $10,000 a week. I can't imagine living on just $10,000 a week. Now this is all relative, because to most people, $10,000 a week means you're rich. But to somebody like Tony Kupas, $10,000 a week means you're poor. Your fear will always have a limit and a cap on how far you can grow. As a God-fearing man, I fear nobody, I fear no man, I fear no circumstances. I always give it to the Almighty. It's in His hands, because I have the faith and belief that everything will happen. Because when you have fear of something, you're also afraid to take risks, because you're more concerned with what you may lose than what you're possibly going to gain. Having the philosophy of fear also allows you to point blame at everybody else instead of ever taking responsibility for your own actions. And I used to do this all the time. It was somebody else's fault. This person didn't do what they were supposed to do. That person didn't do what they said they were going to do. The company let me down. Customer service wasn't good enough. I quit. See, when you have the philosophy of performance, you take matters in your own hands. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. It doesn't matter what your family says. It doesn't matter what society says. It doesn't matter what the economy says. It doesn't matter what the news has to say. It doesn't matter what your best friends and lovers and wives and husbands have to say. It doesn't matter who quits on you. It doesn't matter if a company lets you down. It doesn't matter if things don't go according to plan, because things will never go according to plan. What matters is what you do and how you respond to any issue that happens in your life. That is the most important thing. Because when you have the philosophy of performance, you will become successful in anything that you do. Anything. You take responsibility for things that happen in your life. See, by having the philosophy of welfare, the philosophy of minimum wage, the philosophy of fear, the philosophy of demand, the philosophy of waiting, I am putting my future in the hands of somebody else. And I will never be number one priority for somebody else besides God. So to make myself the priority, philosophy of performance is what guides me. Nobody can take away my work ethic. Nobody can take away my desire. Nobody could take away how hard and how many hours I'm willing to put into something. People ask me, how many hours should I work a week, Brandon, for my business? That's a trick question to me. It's when the job gets done. If that means I need to stay up to 3 a.m., I'm up at 3 a.m. If that means I need to talk to 1,000 people, I'm not going to quit because 5 people said no. I haven't reached 1,000 yet. I will never let my future be in the hands of somebody else. And somebody please slap me if the day ever comes where I blame any failure or setback I have on somebody else. That is all irrelevant. That is all to be expected. That's what's called life. But the one thing you will always have 100% control on is your performance, your production. The most reliable hand is the one at the end of your own wrist. And if you can't rely on yourself, how in the world do you think you're going to be able to rely on somebody else? The philosophy of performance will make you a winner in any field that you ever do, in any endeavor that you ever take on. You will eventually succeed. The philosophy of quitting shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. Once you understand the philosophy of performance, the philosophy of performance means that you can be in any company and still reach the top, no matter what. No matter who's on your team, no matter who leaves you, no matter who quits, no matter what the company does, it's a law. So if you don't have this philosophy, work to adapt this philosophy. Work on yourself more than you work on anything else. The trait of a man is what he does when no eyeballs are on him. Your actions will always speak louder than words. Adopt the philosophy of performance, and I will see you at the top. That's the Brandon Ivey Show, coming to you back with a new tip of the day, the philosophy of performance. Until next time.